Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at the prototype Verdun. Now, this is going to be published by Dragon Dawn Games, and this is going to be a 1v1 or 2v2 game where you're going to be playing in a World War I battle of Verdun, where you're going to be either the German or the French armies. And you're going to be going over 3 different rounds in this dynamic trick-taking game, is trying to get the most points or the least negative points by the end of the game. So let's go ahead down to the table here. I'm going to show you how to play this game, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is Verdun, and Verdun is a trick-taking game that can be played 2-player or 4-player, so 1v1 or 2v2. The game revisits the German and French armies fighting in World War I battlefields of Verdun. As your hands dwindle in this game, you're going to have to make tough decisions to decide when you're going to use cards that may help your opponent. You're going to have to get good timing on this to strategically minimize your own casualties and what your opponent will win. Every card played has consequences, and every round is a tension-filled challenge. So this game can be played up to 3 rounds, and each round is all about your assets here and your fortifications. Now your fortifications are going to have a number here, and we're going to flip these over to show you that both fortification sets are going to be the same. So this is the French and German fortifications, and you can see they have numbers from 0 to 7 here that you can use for your fortifications, and this will beef up your power when they attack these fortifications. Behind these fortifications, you're going to have these cards right here. So these cards here are going to be worth victory points at the end of the game if your opponent captures your assets. And like in this case, this is going to be worth 3 points. This is going to be worth 7 points, 5, 1, and 1, and a blank. Same with your opponent. They're going to have these asset tokens out. In addition to that, you're going to be using these troop and tactic cards. Now, tactic cards are going to be special cards that you're going to use in the game, and they will be able to afford you a little bonus during a trick to change the way that things work, and we'll go over those in a little bit. The tactics cards, though, are going to be the meat of the game. So these tactic cards here have a side on them. So when you play this, you're going to be playing for the French side. If you're going to play this, you're going to be playing for the German side. If you have these, they're going to be neutral, and they have special abilities to them. So you'll see in a second how those work, but basically those, like the sergeant here, those will change to the side that played them. So we're going to go over those in a little bit, but notice that you're going to have a majority of either French or German cards in this deck. You also are going to have this assault token. This token is what you use to show which of the fortifications you will be assaulting for that trick. Now, as I showed you in this deck, there's going to be some special cards. You're going to have a spy, general, chaplain, and scout. And I'll go ahead and pull those out now and show you. All right, so there's going to be your special cards in here. So here's your chaplain, and notice it has like 4 skulls on it, so this is going to be a big casualty. This is general. This is going to have 5 skulls on it. And you have your scout here with 2 skulls on it, and then you're going to have your spy here with 1 skull on it. And each of these are going to have special rules here that we'll go over. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the spy here. So the spy is going to cost you 1 casualty, but the spy copies the value of the previously played card. Rank 0 if you lead with it. So whatever was previously played, you're going to be able to copy, which is pretty cool. Now we're going to have the scout. The scout always counts as your color, and it's always rank 8. Prevents opponents from playing tactical cards for the remainder of the trick. Tactical cards already played are not affected. So this is pretty nice if you're going to lead with it, or you're going to just play pretty quickly before you're in a 4-player game before the 4th player plays, just in case you think they're going to play a tactical card. The general here, the general plays as rank 1 through 14, whichever 1 or 14. So you have to pick whether the general is going to be rank 1 or general is going to be rank 14. But notice it's going to be a pretty heavy casualty if you lose it. This one here, this is the chaplain. The chaplain always counts as your color, rank 2. And this one is not used in the standard game. And also mention that the scout, which is right here, is not used in the standard game. Just the spy and the general. Now we have some tactics cards here. So tactic card right here, we have an airstrike. Airstrike, everybody dies. All players' cards become casualties. We're going to have mustard gas. Each side loses an additional card, which we'll go over losing cards in a little while. We also have decoys. We have decoys here. Decoys, regardless of the outcome, only the lowest card or tied cards on your side become casualty. Override artillery and mustard gas for the side playing it. So that's pretty cool. That's decoys. There's also mustard gas. So there's stratagem. Find a mustard gas here. Here's a mustard gas. Mustard gas, each side loses an additional card. And we have airstrike. Airstrike's right here. Airstrike adds 3 to your side total, regardless of the color of the card you played. So even if you played an opponent's card, you're going to still get 3 points towards your side for the end of the round or the trick. Stratagem, cancel a tactic card as it is played. This is the only reaction card in the game, so this is one that you definitely want to hold on to and use at key moments in the game. All right, so now we're going to go how to play the game. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through this deck and you're going to take out all the scouts and the chaplains, but you're also going to take out all the 2s and the 3s. So there won't be any 2s and 3s in this game. If you wanted to play a longer game, you would add these back in, but basically for your first couple games here, you should try without these in there. So remove all the 2s and the 3s out of the deck, and then we're going to go ahead and shuffle this deck. I think we got them all. All right, great. So those are all removed. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up this deck, and we'll place it out. The next thing we're going to do, oh, we forgot these 2 guards. So we're going to pop them in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to shuffle up all the tactics cards, and we're going to place them off the side here. This is a spare asset token, just in case you lose one. Put that off to the side. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take all your fortification chips here. We're going to give them a good shuffle and randomly take one out. These will remain face down, so no other than the opponent that is, or the player that has these tokens, no one else is going to see what they are. So 1 player or 2 players, but in the 4-player game. So we're going to go ahead and randomly remove one of these. And now we have our fortification cards. Now each player is going to take a look at their fortification cards, what we have, and we're going to go ahead and set those down. And then we're going to pick assets tokens to go right behind them. So we'll go ahead and set the asset tokens right behind them. Now, if you want a really quick setup for the game, you can agree to do this randomly, but know that future games you should make a strategy on how you're going to set up your fortifications and your assets. So each fortification has an asset, and these fortifications are protecting these assets. So the way you need to look at it. Now, in a 1v1 player game, you're going to deal out 15 cards to each player. Otherwise, in a 2v2, you're going to go ahead and you're going to deal out 12 cards to each player. So each player here will get 12 cards. Now, the way you're going to have to sit in a 2v2 is you're going to have to sit alternating. So that means that you'll have a German player, then a French player, then a German player, then a French player. That way you're not sitting beside your teammate. So teammates are sitting across from each other. So that's very important in this game. Now, how do we play this game? Well, this game is going to go through 12 tricks, and it can go up to 3 rounds. In each trick, someone is going to play a card. So we'll have the first player here. we'll just pick this guy right here. Go look through your hands. On this side, it's going to be the French side. That side's the German side. And wow, this is a giant hand of German cards. So one of the things we might do is we might be, well, you know what, we're going to let them win, but we want to see what the asset is. So we're going to go ahead and throw our super high 13 down. So first we're going to go ahead and say we're going to go ahead and attack this asset here. So we'll go ahead and say we're going to go ahead and assault that. That's going to be our assault marker. So I'm going to go ahead and play my card. I'm the lead player right now. I'm going to play it face up. So I could also play a tactics card if I had one, but I don't. So I'll just leave this one card here, and then we're going to go clockwise. So this would be the German player, and they'll be like, okay, I guess we're going to be winning this one, so I'm going to go ahead and play a 9. And this would be the French player over there and be like, I see what you're doing right now. And this one will go over here, and they'll play theirs. Now, this is going to be a special case circumstance because there is no opponent here. So if all 4 players, all 4 cards are played of the same side, there is no battle, so there's no casualties. So unless mustard gas or artillery were played, so if any one of these guys played a tactics card with the first round on the first play, no one has a tactics card. Fortifications can still be considered overrun when no fighting occurs at all. If the cards were the attacking player's color, which they aren't in this case. All right, so let's change this up a little bit and say that this was the way that it went. So right now we're going to take a look, and we're going to say that the French players had 18 power and the German players had 8. So therefore they're winning right now. So we're going to go ahead and flip over this fortification here, and that's going to add to this value. So they still have 10 to French's 18. The French would win. But if this was a little different and this was going to be tied or whatnot, the Germans would win. And if you win, if the defender wins, this fortification stays around, but it stays flipped. So for the rest of the game, you'll know its value. But in this case, the French won. So they're going to take this fortification and this asset and put it into their victory point pile here for the end of the game. Now, a couple other things are going to happen now that we actually had a battle. We're going to look at casualties. At the end of each trick, each team takes casualties. The winning team loses the lowest ranked card. So in this case, I'm the winning team, so I'm going to lose the lowest ranked card, which is this one, which is going to be 3 casualties. So I'm going to have to put this off to the side because this is going to be a card in my little point pool here where I'm going to be losing points. This card will just get discarded. And for the losing side, which is going to be the Germans here, they're going to discard their highest played card, which is going to cost them 2 casualties. That one's going to go into their little point pile there for scoring at the end of the game as negative points. This card gets discarded somewhere else because it will not count against them. And that's how casualties work. All right, so additionally to that, you're going to get tactics cards awarded. So these are these right here. The player who played the highest ranked surviving card, regardless of the side who is on, will get a tactics card. Now, if they're tied, both players will get it. In this case, the surviving cards were the 10 and the 3. So this was the highest played surviving card. That player would get a tactics card, in this case, mustard gas. If they were tied again, both players get a tactics card. And that resolves the end of a trick. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep on doing these tricks until we have completed 12 tricks. If we're playing a longer game, we're going to go into the 16 tricks. So if we put all those cards that were removed back in, we're going to be doing the 16 tricks. But in this base game here, we're going to be going ahead and going through till we finish 12 tricks. Once we do that, the round will end and each player will score points. They're going to score points for each one of their face down fortifications that made it through the game. They're going to score 1 point for each of the other team's overrun fortifications. So any of the fortifications I've took from the other team. They're going to gain points for any of the asset tokens that we gained in the year. or during the round, and also we'll gain 1 point for each of the asset tokens that we be able to keep. Then we're going to also lose points. We're going to lose -1 point for every skull that we have on here. We're going to total that up, and then we're going to continue on till the third round, and the player with the most points or the least negative points is going to win the game. All right, and that's going to be how you play Verdun. Now, there's one little thing I want to bring up. If you're playing a 2-player game, you're still playing these 4 cards, but what you're going to do is player 1 will go, then player 2, then player 1, and then player 2, and then you'll have your 4 cards out. So even though there's not 4 players, you're still going to play 4 cards per round. So that's it. Like I said, you can increase the length of the game there if you want to add back in the 2s and the 3s and the chaplain and the scout. If you want to add those back in, that'll make a longer game. I also want to mention out that even this prototype here comes with this handy dandy cards here that pretty much tell you exactly how the game runs, so you don't really need to remember anything, especially with these tactical cards, because these tactical cards don't have anything on them. They're just going to be a picture here, so you're going to be looking at your tactical card sheet here to remember what each of these tactical cards do. So I think they really did a good job on these player aids. I think they were really good, even those prototypes, so you have to keep that in mind. But I hope this gave you an idea how the game plays. And let's go ahead, back up the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Verdun. All right, so that was Verdun. Now, can't talk much about component qualities because this is going to be subject to change. It's going to go to crowdfunding, and it'll be different than what I showed you now. But overall, for the prototype, the component quality was really good. I was very happy with it. So if that's any reflection on what the final copy will be, that's going to be great. And if you look at some of the other Dragon Dawn games that they put out in the past, the component quality is very good for the game. I do like the artwork in this game. I think that's great. I like the gameplay itself. I like games like Battle Line and other ones. We're going to be fighting over different areas here. This gives me like a Battle Line-y feel, but this is like a more gamer game of that. I played Battle Line a lot, love that game, but I do like the added layers of complexity that this game adds, and in a very fun trick-taking game too. So I really like this a lot. I really like having to make a decision of whether I'm going to be playing the opponent's card and giving them the advantage during this skirmish that I'm trying to win or lose, depending on it, because I can't win all of them. So which one am I going to lose? So I like that decision that I need to make. I like trying to decide when I want to throw in those tactic cards. And the only thing I'm going to say on the tactic cards is I realize that the player card's really good, so it tells you what each of those cards do. And I guess, you know what, I guess there's not that many tactic cards, so you'll memorize them really quick. I was going to say that maybe it would be cool if they put what the tactic card did on the tactic card, but it's probably fine. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 of them. And I said they give you a really nice player aid that spells them out all there for you, so you don't need to be fumbling through the rule book or anything like that, which I really appreciate. So that's going to be fine. But there's a lot of strategy to this game, and it's a really fun trick-taking game. I actually think that this game is going to get a lot of play. I can't wait until they come out with a final copy of that, because I'm just going to feel like this is going to hit the table a lot. I think I like trick-taking games. A lot of my friends like trick-taking games, and we seem to gravitate to those, especially if we're not going to do a longer game night. And I think this is going to be one that we're going to maybe latch on to. So if you like the time period theme for this, or you like trick-taking games a lot, or you like games like Battle Line, we're going to be trying to strategically take out different points on a battlefield, this is going to be the game for you. I really like it. Again, this is a prototype, so things can be subject to change, but normally that always means that it gets better and better. And if that's the case, this game is going to be an excellent game to play. So that's my thoughts on it. Thank you for watching.